In the heart of the bustling freight train, a talented cook named Gus worked tirelessly in the small kitchen car. With his weathered hands and friendly smile, he was known to everyone as the freight cook. Gus had a rich history. He had traveled from town to town, picking up cooking tips from local chefs and gathering secret family recipes along the way. His passion for creating delicious meals had blossomed into a true art form. What really set Gus apart from others was his special talent for making seasoned beans. With just the right mix of spices and love, he transformed simple beans into a mouth-watering dish that filled the air with savory aromas. The crew eagerly awaited their meals, excited for that comforting taste that reminded them of home. Each bite brought smiles and laughter, making even the toughest workdays feel lighter. Gus took pride in his cooking, believing it brought the crew together like nothing else could. They often gathered around the table, sharing stories and camaraderie over steaming bowls of his famous beans. Little did they know, however, that their moments of joy would soon be overshadowed by darker feelings of greed and betrayal stemming from their foreman's insatiable appetite for more than just food. But for now, life on the freight train was sweet as they savored each bite of Gus's golden beans. Every day on the freight train was a test of strength and teamwork for the crew. From the early morning hours, they worked tirelessly to ensure everything ran smoothly. Some members handled the heavy cargo, lifting and stacking boxes, while others maintained the engines, checking for any signs of trouble. Despite the sweat on their brows, laughter often echoed between them, forming a bond that felt unbreakable. The crew faced many challenges throughout their labor. Rain or shine, they remained committed to getting their job done. When problems arose, such as a loose wheel or a stubborn door, they quickly rallied together, combining skills and knowledge to solve each issue as a team. It was this shared determination that fostered deep friendships, making difficult days seem a little easier. During breaks, they would gather outside near the kitchen car, sharing stories of home and dreams for the future. The aroma of Gus's seasoned beans wafted through the air, adding to their moments of connection. These shared meals not only filled their stomachs but also fueled their spirits, reminding them of what they worked for. As camaraderie blossomed among the crew, they strengthened their resolve to support one another against any hardship, unaware of the growing tensions that simmered beneath the surface with their increasingly demanding foreman. The foreman, Mr. Grady, was a tall man with a sharp gaze and a commanding presence. He had been in charge of the crew for years, but his leadership had taken a turn for the worse. Once respected for his ability to keep things running smoothly, his growing greed started to overshadow his better qualities. Mr. Grady often demanded more from the crew than was reasonable, pushing them to work longer hours while he reaped the rewards. Every mealtime, he would make a point to be the first in line for Gus's seasoned beans, loading his plate with more than anyone else. The crew watched in silence as he piled on the food, feeling resentment bubble beneath their camaraderie. It wasn't just the beans. It was the way he took credit for their hard work, boasting about the freight train's success while they toiled in the background. As days turned into weeks, Mr. Grady's insatiable appetite for power and resources grew, causing rifts among the crew. Whispers of discontent circulated as they recalled when he would have shared his meal and praised their efforts. Now, it seemed he cared only for himself, leaving the crew to wonder how long they could tolerate his selfishness before taking a stand. The once tight-knit group began to feel the strain of his greed, setting the stage for an inevitable confrontation. Gus's secret recipe for seasoned beans was the heart of his cooking. Passed down through generations, it was a blend of spices that transformed ordinary beans into something extraordinary. In the cramped kitchen of the freight train, he would mix each ingredient with care, whispering memories of family gatherings and joyful occasions. The crew would wait eagerly for the tantalizing aroma to fill the air, signaling that mealtime was near. These beans were more than just food. They symbolized hope and connection among the crew. Each bowl served was a reminder of their shared struggles and victories on the road. When they gathered around the table, laughter and stories flowed as freely as the steaming beans, making them feel like a family despite the hard work they faced each day. It was in these moments that their worries seemed to fade away, if only for a while. The significance of Gus's recipe grew even more important as tensions rose with Mr. Grady. The joy of sharing those seasoned beans became a refuge from their harsh reality. The crew cherished this dish not only for its taste but also for the warmth and unity it brought them amidst growing discord. As they savored every bite, they found comfort in knowing they could still rely on each other, even when faced with challenges from their foreman. One sunny afternoon, a special announcement stirred the air inside the freight train. Mr. Grady, fueled by his greed and desire for recognition, declared he would taste Gus's famous seasoned beans at dinner that evening. This news sent a ripple of unease through the crew as they exchanged glances filled with concern. They knew the foreman had a knack for turning any enjoyment into an opportunity for himself. As mealtime approached, anticipation mixed with tension. The crew prepared the kitchen, ensuring everything was perfect for their beloved dish. Gus, sensing the atmosphere, added an extra pinch of care to his recipe, hoping it would shine even brighter that day. The warm aroma wafted through the train cars, drawing everyone closer to the kitchen in anticipation. When dinner finally arrived, Mr. Grady strolled to the table with an air of entitlement. He sat at the head of the table, beaming as he grabbed his plate first. The crew watched silently as he loaded up on beans, taking far more than anyone else had ever dared to serve themselves. A wave of frustration washed over them. They felt their cherished meal had become another tool for their foreman's selfish indulgence. Little did Mr. Grady know that this act would only deepen their resentment and set the stage for a confrontation that had been brewing beneath the surface for far too long. As Mr. Grady piled his plate high with Gus's seasoned beans, the crew watched in a mix of pride and frustration. They knew that Gus had poured his heart into every pot, making this dish a true treasure of their shared experiences. Yet, seeing the foreman indulge greedily felt like a betrayal. Laughter and stories that usually filled mealtime were replaced by an uneasy silence as the crew exchanged glances, unable to mask their growing resentment. Some members of the crew felt a swell of pride watching their foreman's blatant arrogance. They loved that their hard work had produced something so cherished, but it stung to see someone who gave so little take so much. It was as if Mr. Grady was enjoying not just the beans but the very essence of what those dishes represented. A sense of unity and belonging that he had long since abandoned. As he boasted about the flavor and richness of the beans, the crew felt anger rise within them. They longed to speak up, to remind him that these were their beans, prepared with care and camaraderie. But fear held them back, knowing that any criticism would be met with disdain from Mr. Grady. The tension hung in the air, a silent storm brewing among the crew as they struggled to balance their pride in Gus's cooking with the frustration of their foreman's greedy indulgence. The tension in the air reached a breaking point when Mr. Grady, still bragging about Gus's seasoned beans, made a dismissive comment about the crew's hard work. "You all should be grateful to serve someone like me," he sneered, shoving another spoonful of beans into his mouth. The crew exchanged anxious glances, and whispers of discontent began to circulate among them like wildfire. Finally, it was Jake, a longtime member of the crew known for his quiet demeanor, who could no longer hold back. "Grady, we're the ones who make this train run. We're the ones who work hard every day," he exclaimed, surprising even himself with his boldness. The dining car fell silent as the other crew members nodded in agreement, emboldened by Jake's words. Mr. Grady's face turned red with anger as he rose to his feet. "You think you can talk to me like that? I'm in charge here," he shouted, his voice booming through the train. The atmosphere crackled with intensity as crew members stood up, their frustrations spilling over. "It's not about being in charge. It's about respect," shouted Maria, another member of the crew. The confrontation escalated quickly, with voices raised and emotions high. In that moment, old bonds were tested, and the air thickened with a mix of defiance and desperation. The crew knew they had to stand their ground or risk losing everything they had built together over the years. After the confrontation with Mr. Grady, the crew gathered in the kitchen car, their hearts racing and minds focused. They could no longer ignore the growing tide of disrespect and greed that had overshadowed their work environment. The atmosphere was thick with determination as they took a moment to digest not just the seasoned beans on their plates but the bitter taste of injustice served by their foreman. Jake, still feeling the adrenaline from his bold outburst, stood up once again. "We need to take a stand," he said firmly. "We've put up with his greed for too long. This isn't just about beans. It's about our dignity." The crew nodded, their resolve strengthening with each shared look. Maria chimed in, echoing Jake's sentiment. "If we keep letting him take what's ours, we'll lose everything. Our friendship, our respect, and our sense of purpose." One by one, crew members voiced their agreements, sharing stories of how Mr. Grady's behavior had affected them personally. In that moment, they realized they weren't alone in their struggles. They brainstormed ideas on how to confront Mr. Grady together, seeking fair treatment and recognition for their hard work. As they plotted their next steps, a renewed sense of unity washed over them. Their bond forged through shared experiences now transformed into a collective strength aimed at reclaiming their respect on the freight train. The tension on the freight train reached a boiling point as the crew decided to take action against Mr. Grady. Under the cover of night, they gathered in a secluded corner of the train yard, an area filled with shadows and echoes of their shared struggles. Anger pulsed through them like a heartbeat, driven by feelings of betrayal and resentment. Each member recalled how Mr. Grady had taken advantage of their hard work, turning their pride into shame. Jake took the lead, his voice trembling yet strong. "We need to make him understand the damage he's done. This isn't just about us. It's about standing up for what we believe in." The crew nodded in agreement, energized by the thought of justice finally being served. They crafted a symbolic noose from rope, a representation of the hold Mr. Grady had over them, and placed it over an empty crate designated for discarded supplies. As they gathered around it, voices rose in solidarity, each expressing their disdain for years of mistreatment. In that moment, something shifted. They weren't merely workers under his command anymore. They were a united force. Their actions would not lead to physical harm but rather serve as a powerful statement that enough was enough. With fierce determination burning in their hearts, they prepared to confront Mr. Grady one final time, ready to reclaim their dignity and unity once and for all. After their confrontation with Mr. Grady, the crew gathered one last time in the kitchen car, each member reflecting on the events that had unfolded. The atmosphere was heavy with a mix of relief and uncertainty. Jake broke the silence, his voice steady yet contemplative. "We finally stood up for ourselves, but at what cost? We need to remember that our strength lies not just in anger but in loyalty to one another." Maria nodded in agreement, her brow furrowed. "It's true. We've seen how greed can poison relationships. We can't let it come between us." She glanced around at her fellow crew members, who had shared laughter and tears over Gus's seasoned beans. "We have to rebuild that trust, to ensure we're always looking out for each other." As they shared their thoughts, some admitted feeling conflicted about their actions. "We didn't want to hurt him," said Tom quietly, "but we had to send a message." The crew understood that standing up against greed was essential, yet they also acknowledged the importance of maintaining their friendships. In that moment of reflection, they realized the true value of their unity lay not in the act of rebellion, but in their commitment to support each other moving forward. They vowed to keep their bond strong, ensuring that respect and fairness would guide their future interactions, both among themselves and with whoever took on the role of foreman next. As dawn broke over the horizon, casting a warm glow on the freight train, the crew gathered one last time to discuss their future. The weight of their recent experiences hung in the air, but hope flickered like the first light of day. Gus emerged from the kitchen with a fresh pot of his famous seasoned beans, and as the rich aroma filled the space, it served as a reminder of what they had fought to preserve. Not just their meals, but their unity. "Today marks a new beginning for us," Jake declared, looking around at his fellow crew members, who wore expressions of determination mixed with excitement. "We've learned that respect and loyalty are what truly hold us together. We must carry these lessons forward." Maria added, "Let's ensure that we create an environment where everyone feels valued. No more greed will divide us." The crew nodded, inspired by her words. They recognized that their journey was not only about overcoming adversity, but also about fostering a sense of community. As they enjoyed Gus's beans together, laughter and stories returned to the table, signaling a rekindling of their camaraderie. With newfound strength and purpose, they committed to looking out for one another and building a future free from the shadows of greed. In that moment, they understood that together they could face any challenge ahead, united by the bonds forged over shared meals and respect.